Hey WCR, what's happening? This is Orange doing an Undead versus Orc commentary. It's not a twos commentary, my bad. I'm still working on that one actually. But I figured since they need commentaries for the front page, I'd do this one. Because I got sort of a request by a few people to do this replay. And this is Deuce versus Stop. Yes, I know, Stop's a fellow commentator and stuff. I'm not going to badmanner him too much. I'm just kidding. He's a cool guy, except he's becoming antisocial, which isn't cool. So, yeah, I actually offered to do a dual audio with Stop on this one. But he said, since he has a little thing for me, that the sexual tension would be a little too much for him. So he kind of declined my offer. Which is cool. I mean, I understand where he's coming from. But, yeah, he sends me all this weird shit on Battle.net. It's kind of weird. Anywho, this game is Turtle Rock Undead vs. Orc. Basically, better map for Undead. Especially if you get the close spawn, just because you can burrow rape so much easier. The only difference is they can Acco rape you and get your second ziggurat kill, which usually sucks, especially if you're going fiends. You'll have to get an earlier Nerubian tower if it's close spawn, stuff like that. The game really changes depending on the spawn on Turtle Rock, so as does with most maps. Like close spawn GW is a little different than cross spawn, but whatever. So, yeah, if I haven't said this, pause at the 45-second mark. I also played Deuce. I might do a commentary on that. Like a 3x speed burn through how I'm an idiot and I could have won. Yeah. I don't know. It would have been different if I did a couple things differently. That's for sure. But, yeah, I might do that. I also lost to Deuce. His Undead versus Orc is pretty good, so yeah, I'll go over that. And yeah, since you should be at the 45-second mark, we'll unpause in 3, 2, 1, unpause. 46, 47, 48. Cool. So there's a lot of different things you can do as Undead versus Orc. Orc obviously will do whatever their standard crap is, which is basically they'll expo tier 2, they'll mass air raiders, or they'll go to tier 3 mass air, sometimes they mass zerkers, which I've seen surprisingly a lot lately. I don't know why. But, yeah, that's not what's happening in this game. So, basically, as an Undead, what you're going to do early game is you're going to decide between an early or late hero with fiends, or you can go an earlier or later hero with ghouls. And basically what he's doing is a later hero with fiends, which means you're going to be doing a lot more creeping and a lot less harassing the orcs creeping, stuff like that. And you're going to be a little less aggressive, especially before tier 2. With ghouls, you're going to be a little more aggressive when it comes to canceling their voodoo lounge. You know, sometimes you kill the occasional burrow. It really depends on your playstyle, but generally ghoul users do a lot less creeping early game, and they spend a bit of time harassing the voodoo lounge, and just keeping the Blade Master at low HP until you can actually make an official push and win, which doesn't happen as often with ghouls until you hit like tier 3 and you have Destros and Gargs. Yeah, it's not an exact science, but that's basically what I see a lot of Undead players doing. It could be bad Undead players, who knows. So, you'll notice he's already drawing the creeps, and he's creeping the orange camp first just because there's a better item there, and if you get Jack there, or the orc player decides to go run around an Imba creep and just Jack all of the items and stuff, this is just a good camp to kill first, just because he won't get whatever it is, which is usually either a circlet, blades, gloves, or the ring of armor and stuff like that, which is always good for the Blade Master. Ring of Armor, not so much, but it's good for your Torn Chieftain. For various reasons, which I will get into later. So he picks up a Gloves of Haste, which isn't too important, but, well, not on a DK, but he will probably stack it to his Lich and stack up the damage output that way. Yeah, you'll notice the Orc is doing his creeping thing. And this is why you get rid of this camp first, just because by this time they hit level 2, and you'll notice, if you have the Fog of War off, you'll notice his Blade Master headed over there. And he's sort of varying up his creep pattern, which is good. Well, he will be varying up his creep pattern. He hasn't varied it up yet. This is sort of standard, because it's just important to get the creep camp off first, because then you'll be about 15 or 20, I forget what it is, EXP away from level 2, which is pretty important, just because you can actually get Unholy Aura and save some fiends from Blade Master and Grunts. Of course, Blade Master will pick up the Boots of Speed, and nothing's ever safe from the Blade Master. And this is where he starts to vary up his creep pattern, because you'll notice Stop is heading around to various places with his Blade Master. This is why you keep Fog of War off, by the way. But he's headed around to various places to try and check for creeping. A lot of people will go to the other turtles. They will go to the red camp, creep that out, just because there's a pretty good item there. Plus, it's fairly easy to creep. And you'll notice Stop looks lost, which was smart by Deuce, just to creep this out. Plus, it gets you level 3, and it's a good 3 camp level 3. So, or a good 3 camp creeping pattern. That's what I mean. For level 3. Plus, he picks up a pretty good item. And he's jacking Stop, but it doesn't really matter because he's the Blade Master. And what all Blade Masters will do if they see your DK below half health is they'll right-click it. So, he uses his Cloak of Shadows, which is good. And it'll force Stop to do something, which is pretty funny. Or which I thought was pretty funny. Which is he's actually going to go buy Dust. So, basically, a 50 gold item gets you to make them spend 75 gold. I thought it was amusing. But yeah, this is what the Blade Master is going to do. Dust, focus your hero, and this is where the earlier Unholy Aura comes in handy. I mean, the Blade Master can still catch up to you with the Boots of Speed, but he'll only get 1 or 2 slices in by the time you get to your base. Oh, one thing I didn't mention, since we're talking about bases, is he's got a pretty good Zig block off here, which will not allow the Blade Master to actually get to his acolytes. At least I believe it does. One thing you should always have, though, is a Nerubian Tower, just because it prevents any kind of pressure that the Orc decides to apply to you. Oh, he sells the Beast Scroll. That's kind of playstyle choice. He picks up a Scroll of Town Portal second, which I thought was weird to pick up at that time. But whatever, I would have opted for an earlier tech as opposed to a second TP. But whatever. But yeah, one thing that a lot of people will do is get a Nerubian Tower just so they can prevent them from killing a Tomb of Relics without paying for it with like a Grunt or something. Or at least half a Grunt, force them to buy a salve. One thing you should always keep on your DK though, or at least on your Lich, just keep with you at all times, is a Rod of Necromancy. The reason this is not only is it infinite mana for your Lich, but it also means a little more meat shield for the raiders. It's a pretty good position thing. I mean, they're only 180 HP, but since they're not going Shockwave, or well, the Orc player does go Torn Chieftain, but no one goes Shockwave. They usually opt for the reduction of the damage output type crap. So they go Stomp. But that's one thing to keep in mind, is that they won't be able to kill your skeletons and turn them into free EXP, so it's good to keep one of those on you. He picks up a Lich second, pretty standard stuff. Now, the one thing that you want to do differently versus Torn Chieftain as opposed to a Shadow Hunter is you actually want to you'll want to nuke the Blade Master first, not only because he's a third of the damage output of his army, basically, but but he doesn't have a shadow